My sister is severely autistic, and I've resented her for years. AITA! I'm going to tell you something I'm still ashamed to admit, something that haunted me for years. I hated my sister. It feels wrong to say it out loud, but for a long, long time, it felt undeniably true. Ever since she was born, it was like I simply vanished from my parents' lives. I was 6, brimming with excitement to be a big sister, but that joy evaporated shockingly fast. The shift was subtle at first, then became a crushing reality. One day, I was told I had to move into the creepy, cold basement because she needed to be closer to Mom and Dad. That hurt. Nights down there were long, lonely stretches. I'd hear the laughter and movement of my family upstairs, feeling utterly cut off, like a forgotten afterthought instead of a daughter. Then came the toys. My precious, carefully chosen toys, broken again and again. She didn't mean to. I knew that, but it happened constantly. I tried to explain to my parents how it made me feel, hoping for a glimmer of understanding, maybe even some justice. But all I ever got was, "She's younger, she doesn't understand. You're the big sister, you need to be more understanding." It was so profoundly unfair. Those toys were my only escape, and watching them destroyed, with no one truly caring, just cemented that feeling of being utterly invisible. The MacBook incident was the final, devastating blow. My school had given it to me because I was excelling, achieving something I was genuinely proud of. Then, one day, it was just ruined. Destroyed. My school was furious at my supposed carelessness, and my parents, they just piled on the blame. No one, not a single person, stopped to consider it wasn't my fault. I was boiling with rage, deeply hurt, but mostly I felt so alone, trying to navigate this impossible mess. It wasn't just about a laptop, it was about feeling like absolutely no one had my back. Honestly, trying to balance being a sister with having any semblance of my own life was pure torture. I love my sister, I really do, but it felt like my parents completely forgot I was a kid too. Every single time she needed something, I had to drop everything. It didn't matter if I was studying, trying to hang out with friends, or just attempting to catch my breath. I was on call, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without ever signing up for it. I couldn't remember the last time I'd gone out with friends without constantly checking my phone, gripped by the fear of missing a call, of having to rush back home. My life felt like it was stuck on a perpetual pause, always waiting for the next crisis, the next demand for help. The day I decided to finally go see the new Spider-Man movie was a monumental moment for me. It had been ages since I'd made plans, purely for my own enjoyment. My friend Jake had been buzzing about it for weeks, and his excitement was infectious. I needed that break, just a couple of hours where I could simply be a teenager, not a full-time caretaker. So I made a decision. Just this once, I'd turn my phone off, immerse myself in the movie, and not worry about a single thing for 2 glorious hours. Walking out of that theater, turning my phone back on, it felt like I was hit by a truck. Missed calls and texts, a terrifying cascade of them. I called home immediately, the joy from the movie evaporating with each ring. When my mom picked up, her anger sliced right through me. "Where have you been? We needed you an hour ago." I could barely get a word in. I rushed home, a tangled knot of guilt and resentment churning inside me. When I arrived, it was like walking into a Category 5 hurricane. My parents were absolutely furious, their disappointment a tangible, suffocating force in the room. "We rely on you, and you just decide to disappear to watch a movie?" My dad's voice was razor sharp, his words punctuated by my sister's agitated noises in the background, making it sound like going to a movie was some unforgivable crime. I tried to explain. I just wanted a break, just a couple of hours to myself. But my words fell on deaf ears. "It doesn't matter. Your responsibilities here are more important than some movie," my mom declared, her words utterly final. They grounded me, said I was being irresponsible, all over a movie. Sitting in my room afterward, the truth hit me with brutal clarity. This wasn't just about the movie. It was about feeling completely and utterly stuck. Yes, I understood my sister needed me, but sometimes I just wanted to do something normal without feeling guilty or getting into trouble for it. Being 18 and feeling like you're not allowed to have your own life is crushing. It was about being trapped in a role I never chose, about desperately longing for a shred of normalcy in a life that felt anything but. In that moment, as much as I love my sister, I couldn't help but feel robbed of the simple teenage experiences of friendships and carefree moments. Living in my house felt like being trapped in a suffocating loop where everything, every single thing, revolved around my sister and her needs. I get it. She needs a lot of care, and I wanted to be there for her, but sometimes it felt like I was just another item on the family's never-ending to-do list. Help your sister. Make sure she's okay. Can't you see we're busy with her? It was exhausting, feeling more like an extra pair of hands than an actual member of the family. This crushing feeling of being a slave in my own home, it was suffocating. I carried that weight, that burden, around constantly, making me question my own worth. Then came this one week that, for a fleeting moment, felt different. I had been chosen to give a speech at a school event. That recognition, that tiny spark of acknowledgement, it lit something inside me. I poured my heart into that speech, every thought and feeling. And when my parents said they'd actually be there to watch me, for the first time in so long, I felt genuinely valued. Finally, something for me. I worked on my speech every night, imagining looking into the crowd and seeing them there, maybe even catching a proud smile. The excitement was a beacon, a rare, bright light in the usual dimness of my daily life. Maybe this time, things would be different. But they weren't. They missed it. Again, because of something with my sister. Standing there, about to start my speech, not seeing them in the crowd, it absolutely crushed me. I pushed through, my voice shaky, hence trembling. I cried afterward, not just for the speech, but for all the times I felt sidelined. Yes, I made it through, and people clapped, but it felt hollow. The whole walk home, I couldn't stop the tears. I didn't want to make a big deal about them missing it, but it just hit so incredibly hard. It was a stark reminder that no matter what happened with me, it would always be secondary. And walking home, all I could think was that this pattern, this painful cycle, was never going to end. Talking about colleges with my dad was something I'd actually been looking forward to. It started off so normally. I was genuinely excited, you know. For once, it felt like we were focusing on my future, on something that was purely about me. I was getting into it, really envisioning college as my escape, my chance to finally do my own thing, far away from the chaos at home. We were looking at brochures, talking majors, campuses. It was the closest to dreaming I'd gotten in a long, long time. Then my dad made that joke. Something about picking a high-paying major so I'd be all set to take care of my sister when they were gone. He laughed, thinking it was just a light-hearted comment. But it hit me like a physical blow. All my bottled-up feelings, all the years of resentment, they just exploded. I lost it. I couldn't hold it in anymore. I started crying, then screaming, telling him how profoundly unfair it was that my entire life was expected to revolve around being my sister's caretaker. It all came pouring out. Every bit of bitterness, every moment of feeling overlooked and undervalued, desperate to make him see how much I'd had to give up, how everything always circled back to what my sister needed. But they didn't get it. My parents just stood there, staring at me like I was speaking a foreign language, watching me completely unravel. No comfort, no apologies, nothing. Their faces were so cold, so detached. It was like they couldn't possibly comprehend why I was so upset over a joke. That's when it truly hit me. They weren't going to hear me out. I ran to my room, slammed the door, and I've been here ever since. And here's the kicker. I've been in there for hours, and they haven't even bothered to check on me. Not a knock, not a word, nothing. It's like my outburst didn't even matter to them. It's so unbelievably lonely sitting here, knowing that even this, me being this upset, isn't enough to make them see how much I'm hurting. It's like I'm trapped in this role they've set for me, and my own feelings about it are utterly irrelevant. Am I wrong for wanting more than this? For wanting to be seen as more than just a future caretaker for my sister? It just feels like no matter what I do, my life doesn't matter. I am nothing to them, nothing more than an insurance policy for my sister after they're gone. After hours turned into a full day, and then another, with no word from my parents, something inside me just clicked. I couldn't shake off the feeling that something had to change, and not just for a little while. I needed some real space to figure out my own life without constantly being pulled back into the same suffocating situation. I thought of the one person who had always seemed to get it, Grandpa. Without making any grand plan, I just packed some essentials into a backpack one night and quietly left. I texted him that I was coming over, half expecting him to try to talk me out of it or call my parents. But he didn't. He just texted back, "Doors open. By the way, if you're still with me, feeling every word of this, please hit that subscribe button. More unbelievably raw stories are coming your way." Staying with Grandpa has been truly eye-opening. It's not like every moment has been some deep, emotional heart-to-heart, but it's just come here. He lets me simply be. We've talked about college, about what I might actually want to do, and it's the first time in years I've been able to think about my future without feeling a crushing wave of guilt or stress. He's been incredibly supportive, encouraging me to think about what I want, not what I feel obligated to do. It's weird, but in just a week here, I felt more like myself than I have in years. We've had meals together, watched some old movies, and he's shared stories about when he was my age. It's been nice, simple, and incredibly freeing. I've even started researching colleges again, this time looking at programs I'm genuinely interested in, not just ones that might make enough money to take care of my sister in the future. Being with Grandpa has given me a glimpse of what that future could look like, and it's something I desperately want to hold on to. After days of wrestling with my own feelings, I finally understood something profound. The anger I thought I felt towards my sister? It was misplaced. It wasn't her fault. She was born the way she is, and I don't despise her. My parents did eventually come to talk to me while I was at Grandpa's, a while after my breakdown. But I couldn't bring myself to speak to them. I just cried and asked them to leave. They've made arrangements with my grandfather for me to stay with him for the time being. My parents say they want to talk, but we've all decided it's best I have some space and time to collect myself. We're planning to sit down later this week to talk it all through. I started by telling my grandpa the full, raw story of why I broke down that day, and honestly, when I finally spilled everything, his reaction was way more intense than I expected. I mean, I knew he'd be surprised, but he looked downright shocked, horrified even. I told him all about how things had really been at home, how I'd basically been my sister's full-time caregiver on top of everything else, and how it all came crashing down with my dad's careless joke about college and taking care of her forever. Grandpa was seriously upset, especially when he found out that my sister was supposed to have professional help that she simply wasn't getting. He said a lot of things I don't feel comfortable repeating here, but the essence was clear. It wasn't right or safe for me to be in that position, especially with how difficult things were with my sister. He couldn't believe my parents were putting all this on me, and that they kept so much from the rest of the family. He was also really mad about the whole movie incident, saying it was the final straw that truly showed how unfairly I was being treated. Grandpa's usually pretty chill, so seeing him this enraged was a huge deal. He told me straight up not to talk to my parents unless he was there, which, honestly, was a massive relief. He said he'd talk to them first, sort everything out, and be there with me for any conversations in the future. But it wasn't just Grandpa. Over the next few days, I heard from aunts, uncles, cousins, you name it. They were all checking in, making sure I was okay, and every single one of them was just as shocked as Grandpa was. Turns out, my parents had been telling everyone they had a professional caregiver for my sister, and even taking money from the family to pay for it. Except that caregiver never existed. Everyone was pretty upset about being lied to, especially about something so serious. This past week, man, it's been an absolute roller coaster. Tough, yeah, but also kind of eye-opening in a really good way. The whole drama with my parents and finding out all that stuff I had no idea about was a lot to handle. But then, there's been this unexpected silver lining. My extended family stepping up in ways I didn't even know I needed. Grandpa's been at the center of it all, trying to make up for what he keeps calling lost time. He's been really pushing me to just be a teenager again. It's weird, but nice, getting nudged to hang out with my friends more, or just chill and do whatever I feel like. Stuff I haven't really done in, well, forever. It's like he's on this mission to help me reclaim parts of my life I didn't even realize I was missing out on. And it's not just him. My aunts and uncles have been absolutely amazing too. They've been around a lot this week, checking in, bringing over food, just talking and actually listening. It's like they're making this massive effort to show they care, to make sure I don't feel alone in this whole mess. It's pretty overwhelming, but in the best way possible. For the first time in what feels like ages, I'm not just the sister, or the caretaker. I'm just me. And that feels really, really good. The talk with my parents on Saturday night? Disaster doesn't even cover it. I went in hoping, maybe just maybe, we could start fixing things. Instead, it completely fell apart. They actually admitted to a bunch of stuff, things so messed up I can't even bring myself to type them out here. But the kicker? Not a single apology came out of their mouths. Instead, they doubled down, saying I was pretty much born to be my sister's caretaker. Yeah, my dad actually said that. Like my whole purpose in life was just about taking care of her. I couldn't keep it together. All the stuff I'd found out, all the incredible support I'd been getting from the rest of the family, it all just bubbled up. I called them out on everything. The lies about the caretaker, the money they were supposedly spending on it but actually weren't, all of it. But they just dodged and made excuses. By the end of the talk, things were even worse than before. It felt like hitting a brick wall trying to get through to them. I'd gone into that conversation with a sliver of hope that we could mend things, but I walked out feeling like that chance was completely torched. So, after that disaster talk with my parents, I made up my mind. I'm done. I had a long chat with Grandpa and my uncle last night, and we all agreed it's best if I don't go back. Today's the day. I'm officially moving out to live with Grandpa. It feels weird, making this huge change, but it also feels incredibly right. Like I finally have some control over my life again. I've also decided I'm leaving the state for college once I'm done with high school. Just the thought of starting fresh somewhere new is kind of thrilling. My aunt, she's been incredible through all this. She told me she's going to start sending the money directly to me, the money she used to give to my dad for my sister's care. Guess it's going to be my college fund now. My parents, they've called a couple of times since that night, but if you're thinking they called to say sorry or that they missed me, nah. They just wanted to know when I was planning to come back home. It's like they're not even trying to understand why I had to leave. I know this is going to be a massive change, and honestly, I'm kind of scared. But at the same time, I feel this immense weight lifting off me. I'm finally making decisions for myself, and there's something truly freeing about that. Today's just the start of something new, I guess. Deciding not to go back to my parents was tough, I'm not going to lie. There's this uneasy feeling sitting in my stomach, but deep down, I think it'll fade with time. The support I've been getting from the rest of my family has been unreal. It's weird. Even though I've made this huge decision, feeling all their love and support makes the whole situation a bit easier to handle. But yeah, the harsh truth, I've pretty much lost my parents through all this. That realization hits hard. It's a lot to process, and sometimes I catch myself wishing things could have been different. But through all the mess, I've come to see something really important. I don't hate my sister. That anger I thought I felt towards her was misplaced. She's not the one to blame for how our parents chose to handle things. I love her more than I can say, and hating her for something she had no control over was wrong on so many levels. I hope someday I can make that right. For now, though, leaving is what I need to do for myself. It's about finding my own way, figuring out who I am outside of this whole situation. It's going to be a journey, but I'm ready for it. Moving out was surreal. Grandpa and my uncle were with me every step of the way, helping me pack up my life into boxes and bags. Everything that meant something to me we took. We made sure to grab all the important stuff, like my birth certificate and social security card. It felt weirdly official, like I was collecting pieces of my old life to start a new one. My parents, they were pretty much silent the whole time. Dad took off with my sister not long after I got there, leaving just my mom to watch us pack. She didn't say much, just hovered in the background. It was awkward, tense even. But then, as we were about to leave, she finally broke down. She said she loved me, that she'd miss me. After days of silence, those words hit differently. I hugged her, said goodbye. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Sitting in my new room at Grandpa's house, I keep replaying that moment. Did she mean what she said? After everything, it's hard to know for sure. But I want to believe she did. Right now, all I can do is focus on what's ahead. Maybe with time, my parents and I can find a way back to each other. I've laid it all out there. What would you have done in my place? Or if you've ever felt invisible in your own family, I really want to hear your story in the comments below.